morning. I'm here with Police Commissioner Kelly, Chief of Department Philip Banks, Chief of Detectives Phil Pulaski, Chief of Internal Affairs Charles Campisi, Chief of Manhattan North Bill Morris, the NYPD's Chief Surgeon Dr. Eli Kleinman, PBA President Pat Lynch, and City Council Member Inez Dickens was here earlier to inquire about the officer's health. We are here at Harlem Hospital because one of our police officers was shot early this morning. Commissioner Kelly and I visited with Officer Fausto Gomez, F-A-U-S-T-O Gomez, G-O-M-E-Z, a 7-year veteran of the department who was shot this morning while escorting an emotionally disturbed person. Thankfully, Officer Gomez's injuries are non-life-threatening. He is alert, treated, and has already been released. The Commissioner and I spoke with his family, and it was because the injury wasn't that serious. It was a lot easier to have that kind of conversation than sometimes when the officers are much more injured much more seriously or worse than that. Officer Kelly will provide you with more details, but in short, Officer Gomez and his partner, John Chiodi, C-H-I-O-D-I, were escorting the emotionally disturbed person here to Harlem Hospital for evaluation when that individual attempted to flee as they entered the hospital. During a struggle, he was able to grab Officer Chiodi's firearm. Shots were fired, hitting Officer Gomez in the foot. An EMT was able to disarm the perpetrator, and no one else at the hospital was hurt. Emergency personnel here quickly came to the officer's aid, and from all accounts, he should recover very quickly. The police department, as you know, gets thousands of calls a year for emotionally disturbed people, and these interactions involve plenty of risk and unpredictable behavior. This morning's incident is another example, I think, of the dangers our officers face every day and the incredible restraint that they demonstrate. Last year, 12 officers were shot in the line of duty. They put their lives on the line to protect us every day, and we need to make sure we can do everything we can to protect them. Fortunately, in this case, it was not a serious wound, but a tiny fraction of a degree difference in the direction of the gun, and it could have been. Commissioner Kelly will now brief you on the rest of the details. Ray?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Mayor. At about 4:55 this morning, the department received a 911 call, initially as an assault in progress at the 117th Street and Lexington Avenue. The police officers who responded determined that the individual who they located was an emotionally disturbed person. The caller said that the individual had been throwing bottles and that, in fact, he had assaulted someone in the street. As I say, and the mayor identified the two officers, Fausto Gomez and Officer John Chiodi of the 25th Precinct. They responded. The subject, Gitio Idor, is a male, 42 years of age, was handcuffed behind his back and placed in the ambulance with Officer Gomez and Brendan Hernandez, the EMT person who was assigned to the ambulance. Actually, Officer Chiodi was in the ambulance with the individual. Officer Gomez followed in a marked patrol car. They were escorting him here to Harlem Hospital for psychiatric evaluation. Upon arrival here at the hospital, Officer Gomez began to remove the individual from the ambulance, and just as that happened, the subject tried to flee. He tried to run. Now, both officers, Officer Chiodi and Gomez, grabbed onto him and were on either side of him as he walked up the ramp. Then, as they reached the top of the ramp, the individual began to struggle again. Again, he was handcuffed behind his back. He managed somehow to remove Officer Chiodi's service weapon and fire that weapon 2 times, striking Officer Gomez 1 time in his left foot. It's a graze wound. Emergency medical technician Brendan Hernandez quickly pulled the gun from Idor's hand. He racked it to make it safe. The round came out, and he did an outstanding job. We understand that EMS, or EMT, I should say, Hernandez has aspirations of becoming a New York City police officer, and to us, he certainly demonstrated that he has what it takes to do the job. Officer Gomez is in good condition. We believe he's about to be released, as a matter of fact. Idor was removed to Metropolitan Hospital for psychiatric evaluation, and he has an extensive arrest history, including assault and numerous domestic violence incidents. Mr. Mayor?
We'll be happy to take some questions if anybody has any. Yes.
I wasn't quite sure. How was the gun grabbed from the officer, please, if his hands were
Yeah.
in?
A struggle began. This is the second struggle that they had. The individual's hands are cuffed behind his back. We believe during the struggle he was able to move his hands to his left and grab the officer's gun and rip it out of his holster.
Thank you, sir.
Other questions?
How do you spell the suspect's name?
Idore.
What's his last name again?
That's the last name.
Okay.
Idore. His first name is Guitiao, Guiiteau.
Do you have a pedigree on him? Male?
We do. He's a male, 42 years of age. He has extensive arrest history, as I said, assault and menacing. Also has a significant domestic violence history as well.
Other
What
questions?
charges that he would face, have they been determined?
Well, we'll obviously be working with district attorney. Now he's being evaluated as far as psychological situation.
Spelling of the first name one more time, sorry.
Guiteau.
Commissioner, what's the protocol in terms of when there are officers on either side of someone, to obviously keep them from doing something like this?
Well, I think this is a very unusual situation. The officers handled this appropriately, in my opinion. One officer was with him in the ambulance, the other one rode in the radio car. He was quiet, he was docile in the ambulance. When he got out, he began to struggle. The other officer who arrived in a radio car helped to subdue him. They took him back up the ramp, and then he began to struggle again, and somehow were able to get his weapon. Now, we have well over 100,000 emotionally disturbed person calls a year. So, strange things can happen. But it appears that the officers handled it appropriately. Both were on either side of him, bringing him into the hospital.
Did you say he was released or to be released?
I'm sorry, sir?
My understanding was he was released, but if not, he's being released. I would say he's released by now.
You said an EMT brought him down. Is that another officer or an EMT?
No. There were two police officers that had him by the arms. A struggle ensues. That's when two shots were fired. All three go down to the ground. The EMT, Brendan Hernandez, runs up behind and is able to take the gun, wrest the gun from the individual's hand, Idor's hand. Again, he's handcuffed behind his back, but he had the gun in his hand.
He was an FDNY EMT.
Commissioner, did you get a chance to chat at all with EMT Hernandez about his aspirations?
Yes.
What did you tell him?
Yes, we did. Well, we certainly congratulated him, thanked him, and we're going to look into his situation, where he is on the, on the eligible list, that sort of thing. We're going to get back to him today with that information.
All right, well, let me just say that this could have been an awful lot worse, but I think it just still highlights the danger that our police officers face every day. They have to deal with situations that are unpredictable and with people that are unpredictable, and their obligation is to protect the public, but also to protect an emotionally disturbed person, and I think they clearly did that. I don't know how he managed to get a gun. Thank goodness it was nothing more serious than that, and we'll do an investigation. But it looks like the police officers, as Ray said, acted appropriately. We got great support from the EMT, and the emotionally disturbed person is now being evaluated, and whatever the hospital thinks is appropriate for treatment and for penalties afterwards, we'll keep you posted. But once again, police officer in the line of duty gets shot. One time is one time too many, and we're just lucky this wasn't more serious. Thank you very much.